Hi, welcome to Quick Business Tips. I'm Jennifer Swineford, founder of Limitless Impact Agency, and this is the podcast for service-based business owners who want to grow their business without losing the heart behind it. Every week, I'm bringing you real practical strategies on marketing, sales, and customer experience. No fluff, no hustle culture nonsense, just what works. So let's get into it. So I want to start today with an exercise, and I promise this isn't one of the close your eyes and imagine every detail of your ideal client kind of things. This is going to be way more practical. I want you to think about the last time you described what you did to a potential client. Maybe it was a networking event, maybe it was a phone call, or maybe it was the last time you reworked your website. I want you to ask yourself one question about what you said to this potential client. Could your competitor use those exact same words to describe what they do? Let me say it a different way. Could one of your direct local competitors, a person who does the same work in the same market for the same kind of client, could they copy your marketing message word for word and still have it be accurate for them? If you felt a little twinge of maybe or a definite yes, then today's episode is for you. Because I see this over and over again when I work with service-based businesses across all the trades, real estate, landscaping, coaching, even nonprofits. The number one reason that amazing businesses are overlooked has nothing to do with the service they provide, but it has everything to do with their marketing message. And today we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about why your message might be invisible, not because you're bad at what you do, but because of something very specific that happens when we get a little too close to our own business. I'm going to give you a simple test and a framework to start changing your marketing message today. Now, I grew up on construction sites because my dad built homes and remodeled homes. And from time to time, when I was really little, I watched him make promises to different families. He was unbelievably good at what he did, and his work spoke for itself. But here's what I noticed. The builders that were building beautiful homes and the builders who had a 6-month wait list, they weren't always the same people. The difference, more often than not, wasn't the quality of the build, but it was the clarity of their message. Because builders with a wait list knew how to communicate their value. The really talented ones who were scraping by for work, they had no idea how to talk about what made the work that they did different from their competitors. And I think about that a lot with my clients because the work that I do at Limitless Impact Agency is working with a lot of trades industries. And I see the exact same pattern repeat again and again. I've had realtors come to me. They've been in the business for 12 years. They know their local market better than anybody else. Their past clients can't stop talking about how amazing they are. And their website says, no lie, dedicated to helping buyers and sellers achieve their real estate goals. I mean, talk about generic. I worked with a landscaper whose website said quality landscaping services for residential and commercial clients. And I had a contractor who turned their client's 1940s bungalow into a magazine worthy remodel. But their website said serving the greater Indianapolis area with quality craftsmanship since 2008. Look, there is nothing inherently wrong with any of these words on your website, but those words are what's making you invisible. Because the problem is, any of their competitors could use those exact same words. They wouldn't have to change anything except maybe the year that the contractor put on their website. And here's the crazy part. When I sit down with these business owners and I just have a conversation with them and I ask them to tell me about their business, they would tell me stories that blew me away. And I've been doing this for a long time. The realtor told me stories about walking a first-time homebuyer through a nightmare inspection and saved the deal from completely imploding with one phone call. The landscaper told me a story about a customer who cried when she saw how they transformed her backyard for her daughter's wedding. And the contractor told me a story about keeping his guys on the job 3 weeks past the deadline, paying for things that they probably shouldn't have paid for out of their own pocket, just to make sure that a family got to move into their home for Christmas. That's the stuff that gives me goosebumps. And that needs to be incorporated into their message. And nowhere on any of their websites, in any of their proposals, not even in their social media or their sales pitch, did they have any of that information. So why do business owners with incredible stories that provide incredible results and have incredible hearts, why do they always end up sounding like all of their competitors? I found over the years that there are a couple of things that come into play. And I want to be gentle about this because this is not a character flaw. This is very human and it happens to almost everybody. First, when you are really good at something, you start to forget what it's like to not understand what it is you do. We call this the curse of knowledge. You know so much about what you do that so many things seem completely obvious to you. But those are the things that are incredibly impressive to your customers. And you skip right over them. In your head, you think, of course I do that. Everybody does that. But if you really sit down and think about it, you know that everybody doesn't do that. And that is that thing that makes you so different. But you're too close to see it yourself. Now, the second thing that comes into play is a lot of business owners have been told, and I'm not going to lie, they've been told by other marketing people, they've been told by courses, they've even been told by other well-meaning business owners that they need to keep their personal lives out of their business. Keep it professional. Be polished. Don't overshare. And I understand this instinct. But what has happened is so many business owners have scrubbed their personality, their story, their values, their humanity completely out of their marketing. And what's left is a message that's so generic, so interchangeable, that a realtor, landscaper, contractor, and life coach could all use the exact same words, and you wouldn't even know the difference. So here's what I believe. Nobody was put on this earth to be generic. The path that you took to get you here, wherever here is for you right now, the specific clients that you have already served, the specific way that you show up for people when things get hard during a project, that's not just your story, that is what gives you an advantage over your competition. And hiding those things about you, that's not professional. It's just making you invisible. So here's the first tool that I want to give you today. I like to call it the so what test. And it's super simple. Take any marketing statement that you're currently using. This can be your tagline, your website headline, your elevator pitch, and ask yourself, so what? From the customer's point of view. Here's what I mean. We provide quality landscaping services. So what? Quality landscaping services that made one mom cry happy tears at her daughter's wedding because her backyard was exactly the way she dreamed of. Now, now I'm paying attention. Now you've sucked me into a story. Now I want to know more. So let's look at the realtor. Dedicated real estate professional with 12 years of experience. So what? How about instead, the agent who once saved a first-time buyer's dream home with one phone call? Now that's pretty specific. That's human, and that makes me want to know more. So are you seeing the difference? The first versions are highly polished resume language, and the second versions are story language. Story is what makes people feel something. And people make purchasing decisions based on feeling. Now, they are going to rationalize that feeling with data, but their first gut instinct, the thing that makes them stay on your website and want to know more, want to continue a conversation with you, that's all emotion. Now, obviously, you can't put every story into your tagline. But the point of the so what test isn't to rewrite every word on your website or every word in your elevator pitch. But you do need to identify where your message isn't connecting with your ideal client. Where are you talking about features instead of feelings, or writing more like you're writing a resume instead of telling customer results? Where are you just providing your credentials when you need to be providing more connection? So once you've found areas where your message is breaking down a lot, then you can start fixing it. I'm going to give you 3 adjustments that are not a full rebrand, not a 6-week overhaul of your website, but 3 small things that you can start doing this week to close the gap between how good you are at providing the services you provide and how well your message is communicating them. So the first one, you want to talk about your client wins, not your credentials. Think about your 3 best customer relationships. These might not be your biggest projects, but they're your best relationships. The ones where you are proud of your work and the client would recommend you without hesitation. Now, think about that specific moment in each of these projects where you made a real difference. This is not, we delivered the project on time or on budget. This is a specific story moment, a problem you solved, a fear you calmed, an outcome that surprised the client. Now I want you to jot these down. They don't even have to be full sentences or full thoughts. These can be bullet point notes. Because those moments, those tiny specific stories, those are worth more than any credential that you can put on any website, social media, or email. Number 2, we want to get specific because vague language creates a lot of doubt and a lot of confusion, but specific language creates trust. and safety. So when you say that you have years of experience, there's a lot of doubt there. That seems a little hinky. But if you're saying that you have 12 years and 200 renovations under your belt, now that's specific. And I like that it's 12 years and not more than 10, right? Really specific. When you say that you get your clients great results, there's just that just feels I'm not even paying attention to those words, right? But when you say, I have a client who opened their first quarter at 68,000 and first quarter next year they were at 294,000, that's very specific and creates a lot of trust. This is actually a number that I use on my website because it's a result that I got from one of my clients. We didn't fire people on the team. We didn't change our market. We simply changed the message. So look at your website or your last proposal, your Instagram bio, wherever you're marketing yourself, and see what kind of vague words you're putting out there. Quality, dedicated, professional, experienced, more than. Every time you're doing that, you're missing an opportunity to say something even more specific. Number 3, put a little bit of yourself back in the story. Now, I don't want to hear about how your great grandfather started this business and how it's been passed down through generations. And I know that you were told to keep it professional. But for service-based businesses, people aren't hiring the company, they're hiring a person, especially when it comes to trades, real estate, coaching, consulting. They're inviting you into their home, their business. This might be one of their biggest financial decisions, or they might be asking you to help them with their life goals. They need to trust the person, not just the business. And again, this doesn't mean you ever share, but it does mean that you let people see what you stand for, why you do this work, and what you believe about how clients deserve to be treated. You need to share what gets you fired up and what you won't compromise on. Now, I grew up on job sites with my dad, and I learned that trust is built long before any contract gets signed. And I put that learning into the foundation of what I do in my business. It's why I started this agency, why I work the way I do, and why I care about getting my client success. That's not unprofessional, that's simply human. And the reality is that even if you're in a B2B business, you're selling from one human to another human. So those are the 3 adjustments I want you to look at today. Share some of your specific client wins. Offer more specificity where you have been too general. And put a little bit of yourself back into your own story about your business. I've seen business owners make these exact changes. That remodeling contractor where I shared Q1 from one year and Q1 from the next year, they are now making over $4 million in revenue. They didn't get better at what they did. They were already incredible. But they finally have a marketing message that matches the quality of their work. So before I close today, I want to leave you with something that I think about a lot. There is a huge amount of confidence that comes from knowing what you were put here to do. And when you get clear on why you do the work that you do, really clear, not just marketing speak clear, the kind of clear that you don't have to be loud about, you don't have to oversell, and you don't have to chase clients. That clarity creates an ease that I think a whole lot of service-based business owners are hungry for. Because as business owners, we've been hustling and straining, underbidding, and overthinking a pitch. But what we want is to get clear on what we're offering and who we're offering it to. Now, I believe there's a version of your business that reflects everything you were put here to do. Skills, the experience, the story that only you have. And when your message starts to reflect all of that, the right clients find you. Not by accident, not by coincidence, not because you hustled harder, but because clarity has a way of attracting what was meant for you. So take some time this week and do the work. Run the so what test. Write down 3 amazing client stories. Find just one phrase on your website where you're being vague and replace it with something specific. I don't want you to throw out your entire website and start from scratch. Start from everything you've already built because that's a really great place to start. And if you're sitting here thinking, I really need to fix my message, but I don't want to do it on my own, please schedule a free strategy session with me. You can use the link in the show notes or visit limitlessimpactagency.com. Find time on my calendar that works for you. We'll take a look at your message together, figure out exactly where the holes are and how they're costing you sales. And if you found this episode helpful, please take just a little time and leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. It means the world to me, and it will help other business owners just like you find the show. If something landed for you today, I would be so appreciative if you'd share this episode with one person in your world who needs to hear it, because that's how this show will grow. And I am so grateful for every single share that is made. If you're ready to take what you learned today and put it into work to grow your business, I would absolutely love to talk to you. You can use the link in the show notes or visit limitlessimpactagency.com to schedule your free strategy session. We'll figure out exactly where you need to focus first, but until next week, go do something amazing.